Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever this finds you. I'm at Flint Social this afternoon. I thought I'd take the opportunity while everybody else was just packing up and going home to say, first of all, thank you. Thank you to all our investors for the belief and trust you've placed in us. And to give you an update on how we're doing, there'll be a deck attached to the email that contains this video edit, and I'll try and bring some of those things to life just by talking to them. So, in terms of going to market, we went to market in February with a soft launch, and I'll just spend 5 minutes, first of all, talking to you about why did we do this in the first place, right? What was the context that we saw this total addressable market and what was the opportunity to disrupt? Secondly, I'll talk through the 4 pillars as we refer to them of the organization. I'll then translate that into some financials and then talk about a forward view and hopefully fill that in with some of the cultural things about how we're performing as a team. So first of all, what was the opportunity? The opportunity was to fully disrupt a market that stagnated since 2018. Why is it stagnated? Because the current incumbents in this space consist of 2 people that would be my would-be peers, I guess. Those people are cannabis enthusiasts who think it should be in the water and they see medical cannabis as a Trojan horse for legalization. Or they're a name we use, doctorpreneurs. They did a great job at raising money. They did an appalling job at setting up any kind of foundations of a business that could achieve scale. So that was our opportunity to disrupt. Because if you go to any territory where prescription-based cannabis products have been around for any period of time, there's a golden number, 2.5% of the adult population. 2.5% of the adult population in the UK would be about 1.5, 1.6 million people. Currently, there's arguably, depending on your reference point, about 40,000 people in the UK. Why? Because the propositions are poor and the ability to go to market are poor, and the people running these businesses, for the reasons I've said, haven't got experience of operating at scale. So we went to market on the 1st of February, and I'm pleased to say it's gone extremely well. If I look at numbers, we've got more than double the share of voice of our nearest competitor. If share of voice is measured by number of people visiting our website, we have at any one time during the day 200 people on our website. If you think about that and bring it to life by imagining a shop with 200 people wandering around it, that's the scale we're at. We've only been doing this for 4 months. What that has done, it's translated through to the fastest growing medical cannabis business in the UK by some distance, by a country mile. Let me just talk about what we're doing in order to execute. There are 4 pillars as we refer to them internally in the business. The first one is patient acquisition. The second is our health tech platform. The third one is clinical excellence, our ability to scale through our clinic with doctors. And the fourth one is supply chain. So let's take those in no particular order. Patient acquisition. For the reasons I've said, we're in a really strong place and we had a great start. We've got double the digital footprint. We appear pretty much top for all the keywords that you would expect to see us for on search engine results pages. And that means we actually haven't had to turn on any paid search channels at the moment. We've tested them, so they're ready to go, but we're managing to fill our clinical capacity through organic patient acquisition. That means we're not having to pay for it for the most part. Secondly, our health tech platform. We knew it would be a win because the current incumbents all use the same off-the-shelf platform. We spent 18 months building our own proprietary platform. I'll give you some examples of the agility that that's given us. As we were learning, as we moved from that interesting phase from planning to doing, we suddenly found that whilst we would finish on a Friday with 90% of the capacity of the coming week's doctors filled, by the end of the week, we would be at 50%. That's because we weren't able to get all of the information up front in the way we thought. We made some changes in the platform, and today I'm pleased to report that the number we see on a Friday, 90% of capacity taken up, is the same number we've seen at the end of the week. So purely because we've got our own proprietary technology platform, we're able to adjust and move on the fly, and that's proving a real win and driving great volumes. Thirdly is the clinical excellence, the doctor's side. This is all about patients. It's all about white glove private healthcare. We've got 21 doctors working for the organisation at the moment. If you wanted to see a doctor next week, you couldn't, it's full. So we've got a full programme to continue to grow capacity, and we're looking at bringing in nurses to do the follow-ups to the initial consultations carried out by doctors. That will give us the opportunity to scale even further. The fourth one was what I didn't really think would be the challenge that it is, and that's the supply chain. The supply chain is fundamentally broken, and we proved that. And as a result, we refunded £40,000 to patients last month. Why? because we wanted to deliver a great experience for patients and we wanted to keep them out of Trustpilot, particularly as we'd only just launched. What happened? We broke the supply chain. We suddenly had hundreds of patients coming through. The supply chain has never seen the scale that we're doing this at, and they simply ran out of product. As a result, we've done a number of things. We've partnered with Glass Farm, and we're now the sole provider of the first domestic crop of medical grade cannabis, and that will be going into our own branded pots. So that's attracting a great deal of attention in the media. There's a Times article going out on the 2nd of June talking about the first domestic supply being delivered through Releaf. That means we now own our supply chain and the ecosystem. We've flattened our supply chain. We used to have product delivered from a third party that went to a pharmacy, that went out to our patients. We now have a pharmacy that also holds the right licenses to put the product into our pots and to hold stock on shelf for us. So we've become incredibly efficient, more efficient than anybody else in the space. And how's that translated through to numbers? Well, the numbers are super strong. Soft launch in February, £40,000 worth of turnover. May, as I talk now, we'll come out of May at nearly £200,000 worth of revenue, which is break even. Now, over the next quarter, we're not going to stop. We're not going to slow down. We're going to set our aspirational number at delivering £500,000 worth of revenue turnover over the next 3 months. That puts pressure on the internal organisation. What we've done very much is try to not to get people to focus on results. If people focus on results, you end up with a culture that validates why the results are the results. Culturally, we're very, very, very much focused on behaviours. What are the behaviours required to get the results we want? And you can see that coming through with the amount of Trustpilot reviews that are starting to come online as we deliver great, great, great patient outcomes. So there is a deck attached to the email that will contain this video. Please take the time to read it. You know you can get a hold of me at any time. I'm on tim@releaf.co.uk. Please email me if you've got any queries or questions. Summary is, we're in a good place, folks. I'm cautiously optimistic we'll get to £500,000 worth of revenue over the next 3 months. We're absolutely disrupting this industry. They're not happy about it. We've turned up from nowhere and we've taken over. We own our supply chain. We're delivering better outcomes than anybody's ever seen before on a technology platform that is fundamentally different from anybody else in this space. So finally, and once again, thank you so much for your belief and your trust. It's going well.